Well, to further analyze this, Charles Fakroha, iBrandTV senior analyst, joins us live in the studio. Thank you for joining us, Frank.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Charles. Well, let's talk about this supplementary budget that the federal government is planning to send to the National Assembly. We know that the current budget is running already at a deficit of about 12 trillion naira, which the federal government is planning to borrow. But right now, sending a supplementary budget, it's inevitable, actually, looking at the current realities. But what does this bode for the country's economy?
Well, first of all, I want to commend the National Assembly for their oversight function, because if you have been watching and following all the various ministries, extraministerial departments that are coming to present their budget, you see a lot of things that they discover and are not realistic. We need to move forward. You can't say, first of all, let me just mention, Auditor General's office, you are budgeting less than 100 million naira, about 62 million naira or so. For me, that is a sabotage, because the Auditor General's office is like a control office when it comes to government spending. So, yes, the government officials who are responsible for this budget, you know, yes, one will begin to ask so many questions. But for this, I'll commend them, because they are beginning to see the realities on ground. You have a budget projection of about 17% inflation, and now what the reality is over 20%. That shows that what you have in the budget is not realistic, and that's why the government is saying, okay, we need to get do a supplementary budget. And again, look at the projection of the Naira. They are saying about 435, and we are seeing right now
shooting up.
So, and if it gets that up like that, what happened? The parallel market will also. So we must commend the government for saying, okay, this is the reality. What do we do to address the situation? And then I'm coming up with a supplementary budget.
But is that a sustainable solution? Because yes, we may say that the current realities are not realistic with the budget already on ground. But what about cutting down on some of the expenses? For instance, budgeting for vehicles that you already budgeted for the previous year. What about cutting down on things like that?
Yes, we're coming to that. And that is where the legislators, they come in. Oversight function. They have seen that a particular ministry or item is not proper. They query it. And the ones that they need to increase, they increase it. So that is the job of the legislators. And if they don't do it properly, then of course, we're all going to suffer for it. Like you have said, implementation is key. And for us to implement this budget, it must be very realistic. Some of those items, because I agree with you, the revenue side, we're not even looking at it. Because what is even a budget? It's just 1 year plan. No? That is budgeting. 1 year plan. It's not a strategic document, because just 1 year. You are planning for the next 12 months. And you are saying, this is my revenue. This is my expenses. And if these are my expenses, I'm going to finance these expenses from this revenue. And already you've seen that your revenue cannot take care of those expenses.
Only 8 trillion naira proposed revenue.
So, like you have said, this is the time they need to begin to cut costs. But cutting costs, we should not do it at the altar of quality. That things that will impact the average Nigerian. I agree with you. Why budget for vehicles you have budgeted before, or you know, and like I said, that is where stationaries and all that. We don't need all that. That is why the legislators need to do a thorough job. They need to scrutinize each of the budget items to see that, yes, what is in that budget actually will benefit the ordinary man on the streets.
Because in the end, if we do all of this, if they do their homework well, then we might not even need an extra supplementary budget. We might even have to cut down the more.
But looking at what we have on ground now, we need a supplementary budget.
Really?
Yes, because...
What if we cut down on issues like the subsidy payment, those other extras in the budget?
Yes, we have gone so deep. And just trying to do things overnight will not be good. Things has to be done on the gradual basis.
All right.
Yes.
Let's take a break. We'll be back to talk further on the other stories. Please stay with us. Still Business Breakfast right here on iBrandTV. Now let's move on to other stories with Charles Fakruha. Let's talk about the federal government's plan to inaugurate an implementation. Actually, they already inaugurated the committee to halt the constant rejection of Nigerian products at the international market. And they are saying that the team is expected to implement the recommendations of the technical committee in record time.
Yes. It's good that these things are happening, but again, you ask yourself, why is our products being rejected? That's the first thing. And I remember sometime during this year, that issue came up, and one of the issues was the quality of our produce. Because these international buyers, they have specification, standard as to what they want to buy. Even the quality of, usually agricultural products, the quality of your cocoa, quality of your maize, quality of your beans, they have different specification. And they use it for different purpose. So if what you have sent to them, they take it through their lab, does not meet those their specification, of course, they will not buy something that will not be useful to them. And that is why in Nigeria here, we need to have agricultural, or let me say, commodities exchange. Yes, just like the Lagos.
Don't we? We do.
Yeah, we have. Then we should improve our warehouse services. And those exchanges also have quality control. So whatever produce that is being traded there is of international standard. So when you now export it, you are very sure that you have met the standards.
But we have organizations and bodies like the Standard Organization of Nigeria that should check quality and
before exportation.
Control.
Yes, probably they're not doing enough. And you see, agricultural products are very sensitive.
Is a strong word.
But even in terms of storage, your produce can be good, but maybe not proper storage. By the time maybe heat, whatever, temperature changes, and you export. When it gets to Europe and they look at the quality must have changed, so they know this is not what we want.
And it leads to wastage.
Of course. You know, so
but even right here within the country, we have a lot of wastage. There's a report that shows that about 70% of Nigerian tomatoes, by the time they are traveling from the
one point to the
southwest,
they're already wasted.
So it's not just an international
and that's why this committee, the job of this committee is to ensure that proper storage facilities, so that even when we are not in the harvesting period, we will have this our produce stored properly. So at any point in time, they maintain that quality. Because the essence is quality of your produce. You need to maintain that international standard. Even local manufacturers or local producers here, if I run a brewery and I need sorghum or millet, and of course, if it's not properly stored and it gets to my factory, my lab people test it and they see that the number of weevil per million, whatever, is higher than what we are expected to use. Of course, I will reject it. I will reject it. So we need to go back to, of course, that committee is working, storage facilities.
But we also need to talk about seedling, providing good seedling for our farmers, manure, fertilizer.
Yes.
All of these things contribute to the
end product of what is being produced. But you see, you can't control those ones.
You can't?
You can't.
Really?
Okay, what I mean you can't is, okay, of course, nobody will give you a bad seedling now. You have these seedlings. There are some seedlings that are natural. They are just there. No modification. You plant them, they come out. You harvest. Your storage of those
I'm talking about even the provision, the availability of these seeds. In the first place.
We have the seed agency. They're also doing their work. But I think it has to be integrated, coordinated by the Ministry of Agriculture, to ensure that we have improved seedlings. Fertilizer, well, I'm always quarreling with fertilizer because as I speak to you, when the flood has gone down, my grandmother will still go and plant a cassava without fertilizer and she will produce a lot. But anyway, for mechanized farming, yes, we can use fertilizer.
Well, maybe because of where she's located, there are some regions in the country where the soil would need a lot of...
Okay, to also improve the fertility of the soil.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Yes, it should be used judiciously and properly so that, because excess fertilizer too has its own environmental
But where are we
implication.
with the Dangote fertilizer plant?
Yes, I'm sure it will still be on board So it's in Lagos here. So, and we're sure that, of course, when that comes fully on board, maybe 2023, with the refinery, I'm sure there'll be no issue of fertilizer shortage in the country, and that will go a long way in improving our agriculture. Because we need agriculture now. We need strategic reserve in case of emergency, disaster, flood. We have enough to feed our people.
Very apt. Well, the Central Bank of Nigeria has increased its Ways and Means loans to the federal government in September by 749 billion naira. According to data, the total Ways and Means loans to the federal government have now increased to 22.8 trillion naira as of September 2022. And of course, this is still rising. How healthy is this?
Well, first of all, let's look at Ways and Means. What is Ways and Means? That is, it's just like you have a bank account. Let me just explain it that way. And that's what they call overdraft. But you are sure that your salary will come to that account. So before your salary comes, you have started using money. Maybe you have about 100,000 and you have an urgent financial obligation of 300,000. The bank can give it to you and you solve that problem. So as soon as your salary comes, they take it. That is overdraft. And you pay interest on that excess you have taken above what your amount that is there. That is to cushion emergency, you know, which is a very good. But again, taking these Ways and Means by federal government, at the end of the day, they are still going to pay back to CBN. So you can continue to take Ways and Means, but you must pay back to the bank as a form of control. It is not for you to keep taking Ways. That means that what you are saying is there is revenue shortfall. You are expecting revenue to come. The revenue has not come, and you have obligations. So you run to your APS bank, give me this amount. But if it was a commercial bank, they would have said no. Pay the one you have taken before we advance you another overdraft. But because it is government and CBN is banker to the government, they will continue to do that. However, I think there should be a limit because we need to look at our revenue side.
This is outside the debt we are
owing. Of course, it's outside the debt we are owing. It's outside the debt. That's why it is Ways and Means. It's overdraft your bankers are giving to you because they believe that your revenue, your salary is going to come. So if after 2-3 months your salary does not come, you think your bank would advance you that overdraft again?
In this
no.
regard, the salary would be the government
revenue, exactly.
And right now, revenue
That's
is
what I'm saying.
falling short.
Yeah, so if it was an individual now, the banks will say, no, we're not going to advance you any overdraft for now until let's see your salary comes in.
But Godwin Emefiele is supposed to be someone who is well learned and understands how the economy runs. Shouldn't he put some form of cap or caution the federal government as regards these Ways and Means laws they keep
But if you look at it, it's still obvious that our revenues will come. It's obvious.
They will come, but at what expense? Especially looking at the fact that we still borrow to fund the budget.
Of course, that's a different ball game entirely. But for this CBN, they have to play that monetary role of ensuring that government deficit in terms of financing emergency projects, it is taken care of by Ways and Means. However, like you said, whether there is a cap, that depends on between the CBN governor and of course the president of the country to say, okay, let us see how we can use other means, not Ways and Means now, to finance this emergency. And of course, we must commend the government. There are some infrastructure projects, they are saying, no, let us use tax credit. That you, this company, go and do it, we'll take it out from, you take it out from your tax. So you can say the government is using different methods to see that when it comes to financing whatever project they are doing, we are not cut out of it. So it's a good means, but at the same time, we must have some control, my view.
All right, let's go to the manufacturing sector, where MAN has once again urged the Nigerian government to allocate a significant proportion of available foreign exchange to the productive sector, particularly manufacturing. And this is according to the Director General of MAN, Segun Ajayi Kadir, and saying that further investment into Nigeria's electricity production sector to boost economic productivity should be done.
Well, I will join him in also emphasizing what he has said, because no nation can progress without the productive sector. I agree with him. More forex should be allocated to the productive sector, especially manufacturing, as he has said. But we know that today there is scarcity of this forex, and you can see the production Q2 and Q1. You can see the drop. It shows that yes, our economy is not improving, and whatever forex we are getting should be set aside for those sectors in the economy that will be productive, that will create jobs and earn more foreign exchange. That is what we need right now. Yeah, because you can't say you want to grow economically and you are not producing. You know, I don't want to be political. And one of the candidates said, production, production, production. We cannot have this posture of saying, international community, come and give us aids. That's embarrassing. We can't produce. And the only way we can produce is to get our act right in terms of agricultural production. And not just producing raw products, adding value to it. Because manufacturing, yes, if you are an agro-allied business, you have harvested from the farm. What do? You need to process this your products so that you add value to it. But what do? How can we just produce cocoa and we're exporting raw cocoa? We can't even process it to cocoa butter. We
don't even produce enough.
We don't even produce enough. So you can see. So for us to improve our economy, take the economy back to that industrialization, we need to increase our production.
They are complaining majorly about this forex crisis and energy issues, but we know that the forex crisis has further been worsened by the announcement by the CBN to redesign the Naira notes.
Yes, it's just like a patient. Nigerian economy is a patient, and the doctor will try several prescriptions to see. And if he tries this, doesn't work, that's what we are going through now. And some people are even.
But this doesn't look like trial and error. It looks like something they have determined to do, and they are sure of the outcome, according to the CBN governor.
Okay. No, yeah. For every medical professional will tell you this prescription, go and try it. And when you come back, he's not getting the result he wants. It will change your prescription. It's not cast in stone that this must be this prescription. If at the end of the day, the objective CBN have set for themselves, and they are not getting that objective, of course. You need to review.
So right now, is it looking good, that proposal to redesign? Is it looking good, especially in the forex market?
Yes, it has its good part of it. It also has the bad part of it. Yes, from time to time, based on the CBN Act, the CBN has that right to redesign the nation's currency.
Yeah, but timing is also very important.
That's why I'm coming to that, because the timing for me now, if you ask me, the timing is wrong. I've said it here on this platform that should have been done maybe after their first tenure, maybe in 2019, that this policy of redesigning the currency should have come up. Not now where we are bedeviled with so many economic problems. The forex issue you have mentioned, electricity production, and now with this redesigning, it's going to add more pressure, like what we are seeing.
It's already adding it.
This is what we are seeing now.
Over 800.
But if you look at the flip side of it, yes, a lot of people have kept a lot of cash inside sockaway pits, inside mud houses, so many places, and it is going to make them to see how those monies can come to the banking sector. And it's frightening when your own CBN governor will tell, and that's the truth, we have how many trillions of naira outside the banking sector. So whatever policy the CBN is bringing on, trying to implement, it will not work because they're not in control of the total money supply in circulation. So that is a good part of this currency redesign. And I remember...
But do the benefits outweigh the negative effect?
The benefits will have outweighed the negative if it has been done earlier than now.
All right, I think we'll leave it there. Thank you so much, Charles Fakoha, stockbroker and iBrandTV senior analyst. Thank you for your time.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Still to come after the break, the market's capitalization closed at 24.94 trillion naira with a total volume traded on the floor of the exchange rising above 215.15 million units of shares on Thursday. We'll take a closer look at the current sentiment behind this new rally in the market as more companies continue to release their third quarter financial into the market. We'll be right back.